Hey, a lot of you guys know me, some of you don't, but I'm Jay with Exacto Machine. We're the manufacturer of the pit gauges that you all sell for us and purchase from us. Um, Got a new product we want to launch today. We're going to kind of give you a brief demonstration on how it works and what it's all about. Right now, we've got your microphones muted, just so there's not a lot of background noise, but at the end of the demonstration, we'll open it up for any questions or any comments that you guys have. I'm going to turn it over to my tech guy, Drew. He's helped us out quite a bit with this, and he'll kind of explain how this whole thing goes together and how it works. So I'll turn it over to Drew.
Hey guys, thanks for being a part of this here. I'm going to try to set the webcam so we can all take a look and see the product. Again, my name is Drew Klaber, and my goal here is to show you the new feature that we have available for the pit gauges. So, if you look in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, we have the webcam going here, and you guys ought to be pretty familiar with this. This is our pit gauge, and what we're showing here is the digital model. Now, I know that there's a handful of analog models out in the field, but what we're going to be focusing on is primarily going to be the digital model here. So I'm sure you probably noticed in the past that on the pit gauge itself, there's a little plug that we can remove, which will give us a data output port for the gauge. And what we're introducing today is an add-on that can be that can accompany new gauges as well as be retrofit for existing gauges for data collection, with the goal here of avoiding having to write down the numbers and transpose those later, but rather be able to just have the data automatically sent to Word or Excel or any other software that you may be using to collect data. So here's a kit that we're offering, and as I open it, there's a few components in here. The first of which is what we call a receiver, and the kit will also include a cable, but I've already got my cable out and ready. So I'm just going to plug this in with the standard USB A to B cable, similar to what you might use to hook up a inkjet or laserjet printer. Also in here is our transmitter, little bracket and cable. This is the data sending units, and you see we have a hook and loop type system available that we can use to attach that to the gauge in any orientation that's convenient for you, and a little cable to plug it into the gauge itself. So let me move this out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first plug this into the gauge, and I can mount this receiver in this orientation or flipped 180 degrees. The way I have it now is just so I can kind of have it maneuvered to the side and allow you to see the setup here. So I have a data send button that's available here, if you can kind of see the orange button available, and I also have a data send button here, whichever is the most convenient for you. Now if I press this right now, I'm seeing a green light, which lets me know that, hey, the receiver's plugged into the computer, everything's looking good. So let me show you how we can put that into, again, I'm using Excel here, but any software that you can type data into, we can get the data into. So I'm going to minimize Excel for a moment. And there's an icon on my desktop here that says wireless data collection. I'm going to bring that up, and I'm going to hit this button that says data IF start. At this point, that's my way of telling the gauge, the software, that I'm ready to start measuring. So let's pretend for a moment that this Excel sheet is some sort of custom software that maybe you're using to input the data that's measured out in the field, or maybe it's just an Excel inspection sheet that you have. Once I have this configured, I can reach over and press the button on the gauge, and whichever number is on the gauge will then be instantly transferred to the software. And again, either button can be hit. So right now it's passing along the measured value, and then it's sending the enter key. There are times that folks will say, well, I have a pre-configured Excel sheet, and maybe I have some cells locked out that I don't want to use, and instead of hitting enter, maybe I wanted to send the value and hit tab so it'll automatically go to the next field for me. So if I go back to our software for a minute, I can say, hey, stop sending the data for a moment. Let's change the environment so that after the data is sent, we can send the tab key. Okay, start collecting data. Now I can press the data, and you see after the data was sent, it hit tab to go to the next field. So again, the way the system breaks down, just to kind of reiterate, we have the gauge, we have the cable, and then we have a transmitter here. The transmitter is powered by a CR2032 battery. It's the battery that's a nickel or quarter sized. And with a good fresh battery, we can get up to about 500,000 transmissions out of that. The battery just goes in on the back of the transmitter. You notice the bracket that holds it together is slotted, so a couple screws can come out. We can put the new battery in. The antenna itself that's receiving the data is just powered through the USB port. Now you see in this scenario, they're not very far apart. We can get up to 60 feet range between the transmitter and the receiver. So the ideal situation for this is that the receiver and the computer may not be near where the measurements are being taken. That's okay, because when I come over here and I press the data button, if you can watch the flashing right here on the transmitter itself, it will give either a green light or red light to let me know if the data was received by the computer or not. So if I am not within sight of the computer and I'm taking measurements and I hit the button and I get the red light, that tells me that the data was not received. I need to investigate why that might be. We have two different models of this transmitter, but the one that we're going to be featuring in these kits is IP67 rated, so it's sealed. And so what that means is we can use it in any weather. It's going to keep out moisture. It's going to keep out dirt and dust as well on that. So with that, if I can, if this works properly here, I'm going to try to unmute everybody and see if anybody has questions on what we're demonstrating for you guys. Which I think we have now. Except for Neil. For some reason I'm having trouble unmuting Neil. Neil, I apologize. That may be on your side. I don't know if you have the option to mute or unmute yourself from the GoToMeeting software.
Doesn't look like we're unmuted.
Okay.
Okay.
I can hear you now. Any questions?
I'll jump in and ask a question.
Yes.
One time again, please. You mentioned the kit. It consists of 3 components: the receiver, the cable, and the transmitter. Is that correct?
Right. What you'll actually be getting in a kit is, we're kind of oversimplifying here, but there will be a receiver, which is this piece that I'm holding up, and the cable that comes with that to connect it to the computer, just a standard USB cable. It will also come with a CD that contains the software that you just saw me configure to switch, you know, if you're going to hit enter or tab after the data was sent. It's also going to include this small adapter cable, the transmitter, and the bracket that we can use to attach to the gauge in different orientations. And that'll all be in a nice padded kit for use to taking out in the field to kind of help protect everything when it's not in use.
Let's grab that case.
Okay.
Have you tried it with tablets?
Yes, it will work with Windows tablets. Again, the only requirement is that it is a Windows system. And as long as you have a USB port, you're good to go. We've even had some scenarios where some folks have made some dual lock brackets, more or less, to make this to where it can be mounted directly to the back of the tablet so that you don't have it hanging out while you're doing the measurements. Great question.
Marnie, I'm going to ask another question.
Uh-huh.
The actual gauge that we all have in stock right now or already have sold out in the field is already capable of making this connection.
That is correct, as long as it is the digital gauge. There are a few dial gauges out there. This is not compatible with the dial gauges where it has the actual dial display. As long as you're getting a digital number on the screen, then it is compatible with this system. Correct. Okay. There's just a little plug that comes on the gauge, similar to this. And just remove this little rubber plug and it will be up and ready to go.
Yeah, Marnie, all the gauges that I've ever sent to Far West, ever since its inception, it is compatible with all those digital gauges.
Okay, cool.
So, and then the case, we're not dead set on this case as yet, but this is kind of basically what the case that we found that all the components seem to fit in nicely. It's, you know, we might change the thickness of it or whatever, but it'll be another padded case. You know, and if this does seem to take off down the road, we may improvise our current 12-18-4 case to have cutouts for all of this. So then if they buy the complete kit and they want to add the wireless, you can add it to that case.
Okay.
So.
Okay, and what do you call this kit again? What, is there a name for it yet?
I'm just going to call it it's called a U-Wave. So we'll probably call it the U-Wave or wireless data
collection system.
Yeah. Haven't really set on anything just yet.
Okay. As far as availability, what are you looking at, Jay?
Do you want one tomorrow?
How much does it cost?
The list price on the unit is $875.
Okay.
$75, which includes everything that we just discussed, the unit, the kit. We're going to keep these in stock at Exacto, and also from my side of Insitoya, we have these in stock as well. So these should be a pretty readily available item.
You have photographs and a data sheet?
Yeah, I don't have anything specific as yet, but I can certainly get something for you.
Okay.
And you know, who was that? And then if you want to give me your email address.
Send it to sales@ndtsupply.com.
Oh, okay. All right. Is Neil?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. As soon as I get some stuff together, I do have a flyer made up that right now that kind of just gives an overview of it. But yeah, I can get some more information and email it to each one of you.
Okay. If you've got that as a PDF that you can email, be appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a problem. Not a problem.
Separate, you know, and the artwork and JPEGs if you have it.
Yeah. 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 I can, and we have these, like I said, these flyers right now that I can send out some to each of you to, you know, put on your counter or whatever.
Okay.
Have you given any thought to, this is Neil again, of putting in a lateral position as well?
I'm sorry, run that again. The transmitter in the lateral position?
Well, encoding the horizontal axes, so that you've got two known coordinates. Where you have a known coordinate, you know, where does that measure, you know, where does that measurement occur in relationship to the whatever 0 point you have?
Right. That's one thing that I really kind of need to talk to some guys on who actually use the gauge. I know that a lot of guys will do they'll put a piece of paper over and a chalk pencil and make kind of like a sketch of the anomaly that they're assessing. And what I would recommend, and I don't know exactly how they do it, but label the first one as number 1. Okay, this was my first one, number 2, number 3, or A, B, C, D. And so they would know which reference points are associated with the Excel
I think if you're going to do it, you need to put an encoder or basically don't take a vernier caliper and attach it with the same output and attach it to the horizontal axes with another one of these devices, so that you can output both the depth and the surface location.
Yeah, I'd have to look into that.
Yeah.
I'd have to look into that and see if we could mount that to the gauge. But no, I haven't given that all that much thought, to be honest with you.
That's a great suggestion, though, and we'll bring that up as a discussion point.
Well, I hope this session was informative. Like I said, I'm going to get some materials out to you guys to take a look at. You know, and then show your customers, and if they have any interest or if they have any questions, you know, feel free to have them get in touch with us, and we'll kind of go from there.